They called her a burden, but what they didn't know is that she was the one holding their entire life together, and she was about to take it all back. Grace, a 74-year-old woman, walked into what was supposed to be a warm and loving Mother's Day celebration at her daughter Danielle's house. She wore her favorite green dress, brought flowers, and carried sweets for her grandchildren. For a moment, everything felt perfect. Her grandkids hugged her tightly, filling her heart with joy. But that illusion shattered in seconds. Danielle handed her a card and asked her to read it out loud. What seemed like a sweet gesture quickly turned into the most humiliating moment of Grace's life. The card read like a cruel joke, telling her she was a burden, unwanted, and that it was time for her to go. The room fell silent for a few seconds, then laughter broke out. Her own daughter, son-in-law, and even the children laughed. Grace stood there, heartbroken, tears rolling down her face, while they brushed it off as just a joke. But it wasn't a joke to her. It was a reflection of how they truly saw her. That night, alone in her quiet house, something inside Grace changed. The pain didn't just hurt, it woke her up. As she sat in her chair, memories began flooding back. Her life had not been easy. When Danielle was just 3 years old, her husband walked out on them, leaving behind nothing but a note. From that moment on, Grace became both mother and father. She worked double shifts at a textile mill, her hands rough from years of sewing, just to give her daughter a better life. She sacrificed everything: her time, her energy, her dreams. When Danielle wanted to go to nursing school, Grace sold her own mother's jewelry to pay for it. She never hesitated. To her, her daughter's future mattered more than anything. Years later, when Danielle got married, Grace paid for half the wedding. When they bought a house, she gave them the down payment. When her grandchildren were born, she became their full-time caregiver, waking up early, walking miles, feeding them, bathing them, and loving them like her own. At one point, Danielle used to call her an angel. But slowly, things began to change. The gratitude faded. The respect disappeared. Her opinions were dismissed. Her presence became unwanted. Comments started creeping in, subtle at first, then sharper. "You're getting older. You get confused sometimes. Maybe you should rest more at home." Still, Grace kept giving. When Michael lost his job, she supported them financially. Even after he got another job, they never told her to stop. She kept sending money. She paid for their kids' education, their car repairs, their home renovations. Over the years, she gave them tens of thousands of dollars. Yet, despite everything, she became invisible in her own family. The signs were everywhere. She wasn't invited to family events. When she found out about a party, she was told it was too small for her, even though dozens of people attended. At her grandson's birthday, she was treated like a stranger, while others were welcomed warmly. On Christmas, she spent thousands on gifts, but no one acknowledged her effort. When she gifted Danielle a priceless pearl necklace that had belonged to generations of women in their family, Danielle barely reacted and even gave it back. But the most painful moment came when Grace got sick. She had a high fever and could barely move. She called Danielle, hoping for help. But her daughter refused, saying she was too busy and that Grace needed to learn to take care of herself. A neighbor, someone who barely knew her, ended up taking care of her instead. That's when the truth became undeniable. Grace wasn't family to them anymore. She was just useful. Back in the present, after the humiliation of Mother's Day, Grace opened a box of her financial documents. As she went through them, she realized something shocking. Over the years, she had given Danielle and Michael more than $67,000. And that didn't even include the house down payment, the wedding, and countless other expenses. Meanwhile, they treated her like a burden. But what they didn't know was this: Grace wasn't poor. She had quietly inherited a beachfront property in Nassau, Bahamas. The rental income had been accumulating for years. She also had investments from a family inheritance. Altogether, she had nearly $400,000, money her family knew nothing about. They thought she was just an old woman living on a small pension. They had no idea who she really was. That night, Grace made the hardest and most powerful decision of her life. She logged into her bank account and started making changes. First, she canceled the monthly $500 she had been sending them. Then, she closed their shared emergency account. After that, she changed her will, removing Danielle and Michael completely. Instead, her money would go to a foundation for abandoned seniors. And finally, she bought a first-class ticket to Nassau. It was time to start living for herself. The next morning, Grace transformed. She dressed elegantly, styled her hair, and walked into the bank like a completely different person. Calm, confident, and in control. She restructured all her finances, making sure no one else had access to her money. Then she went to her lawyer and finalized her new will. Even her grandchildren would only receive money under strict conditions, only if they maintained genuine contact with her. This wasn't revenge. This was justice. For the first time in decades, Grace wasn't living for others. She wasn't the quiet, giving, invisible woman anymore. She was strong, independent, awake. And as she prepared to leave for Nassau, one thing was certain. Her family thought they were getting rid of a burden. But in reality, they had just lost the most valuable person in their lives. They laughed at her when she had nothing left to give, but when she finally walked away, they realized she was the one who gave them everything.